Hello, how are you today? I'm glad you're here with us. This whole week we've been talking about precipitation, evaporation, and the water cycle. Today we're going to look at two different books. The first one is called Planet Earth. It's got great pictures. I want to show you the back cover. Wow, look at the lightning. We've talked about that. Ooh, great pictures. We're going to look through it and read some of this book. I've outlined some of the things I want to talk about with you. It says questions and answers about planet Earth. This page right here I wanted to discuss with you. It's called Seasons and Climates. And it's got several questions, and I thought we would read the questions and answers together. The first question over here, it says, what causes day and night? The Earth turning on the axis is responsible for day and night. At any time, halfway through the Earth faces the sun, where it is the day, and half faces away, where it is the night. Question number 2, does the sun really rise in the east? The sun spins in an eastward direction. This makes the sun appear as if it's rising in the east and setting in the west. Why are days longer in summer and shorter in winter? The angle at which sunlight falls on a particular area determines the length of day and night in the region. During summer, the sun stays above the horizon longer, making the days longer. Wow, these are all great questions. Let's look at this. And over here it says, what are the factors that influence weather on the Earth? And the answer is temperature, rainfall, wind, cloud, and atmospheric pressure are the main factors that influence weather patterns across the world. Wind is caused by the unequal heating of Earth's surface. When the air above a certain region becomes warm and light, it rises and heavier, cooler air sweeps across from another area to take its place. This movement of air is called wind. Atmosphere pressure also affects the movement of wind, which always flows from a region of high pressure to that of low pressure. The difference is pressure between the two areas determine the speed with which wind blows. If there's a small difference, we feel a breeze. If the difference is large, it feels like a storm. If the wind is flowing over a large water body such as sea, it can pick up moisture and carry clouds and rain with it. Low pressure usually means stormy weather and rain, while high pressure usually means lots of sun and not much wind. There are other factors, such as the ocean currents created by the Earth's rotation, which also influence weather. We're going to look at a few pictures. I've got other pages earmarked too to discuss with you. This talks a little bit about mountains and caves. This discusses other landforms, and we looked at landforms yesterday, how they can affect weather. This is another page I wanted to discuss with you. It's on volcanoes. We haven't discussed that a whole lot. A volcano is a mountain through which molten rock and gases erupt from the Earth's crust. Volcanoes are named after the Roman god of fire, Vulcan. And here's the first question here. How are volcanoes formed? Volcanoes are formed by tectonic plates colliding with each other. The heavier the plate is usually forced down below the lighter one, where part of it is melted by the heat of the crash. The melting plate forms magma, or molten rock, that collects below the surface of the Earth in magma chambers. As the amount of magma increases, the pressure inside the chamber rises. This creates a mountain or volcano. The volcano has a cone from which gases and lava may trickle out. When the pressure gets too high, the whole chamber explodes, ejecting the magma. This is a volcanic eruption. Okay, let's look at the picture of that. Wow, and there's some other types of volcanoes over here. It says, are there volcanoes in the sea? And the answer, volcanoes form under the sea in the same way as on land. When two oceanic plates collide, one may get pushed under the other. We just discussed that. The heat generated by the crash causes one plate to melt and form magma. The hot magma rises and forms an underwater volcano, just as it does on land. The Vihulu volcano in the Twa Islands in the Pacific Ocean is an underwater volcano. Wow. Over here, this is interesting. It says an island disappears. One of the largest volcanic eruptions recorded in recent history occurred on the island of Krakatau in Indonesia in 1883. The eruption was so massive that most of the island disappeared into the sea, pale blue area between the two small islands. Over much of the world, the sky was dark with ash for days. Oh, okay, and here's where the island disappeared because of the volcano. I want to look at the next page with you all too. This says earthquakes and tsunamis. Wow, and look at the pictures up here. This page is about hurricanes and tornadoes. I wanted to examine it and discuss it with you all. First, let's talk about what it says. Hurricanes and tornadoes. Sometimes the weather becomes wild. Blizzards, thunderstorms, hurricanes, and heat waves are some examples of extreme weather conditions. Such severe weather often causes a great deal of damage to both life and property. Hurricanes and tornadoes especially are very destructive. That's a tornado, a hurricane right there. What is a tornado? A tornado is a black funnel-shaped storm that is highly destructive. These storms usually form where cold polar winds mix with warm, moist tropical winds. They start as a rotating thunderstorm called supercells. Gradually, the spinning wind in the supercell forms the funnel of a tornado. The wind in the funnel spins so fast that it sucks objects into it like a vacuum cleaner. Oh, okay, look at this one, y'all. Wow. Okay, we've got to read up here because we have discussed meteorology this week. It says chasing the storm. Let's look at the meteorologist vehicle here. Isn't that wild looking? It says chasing the storm. Most of us would prefer to stay as far away as possible from violent storms, especially hurricanes and tornadoes. Some people, however, chase hurricanes and tornadoes. For these people, confronting the storm is exciting. Storm chasers use special equipment to locate and follow storms. They usually have well-equipped vehicle filled with the latest technology, including cameras, radios, scanners, and first aid kits. The video photographs and all the other data collected by the storm chasers have helped scientists understand hurricanes and tornadoes better. Isn't that cool? Well, let's look at a few more pictures in here, and then I've got a great another book to read with you all. This talks about the Americas. That's where we are. And over here talks about Australia and Oceania. And we'll read more about this later. It's going through all of the continents. The pictures are great. Look at that. Over here, they're talking about the drought in Africa. The poles, Antarctica, Asia. Great. So we're going to keep working on this book. It's a really long book, and we're going to read 3 or 4 pages a day to learn more about it. But it's called Planet Earth, and I'm really enjoying it. I've already learned quite a bit. The other book I wanted to read today is called An Extraordinary Egg. This is a fun book. It says, a little frog discovers an extraordinary egg on Pebble Island. And the pictures are great. Wow, look at these first 2 pages. Isn't that cool? On Pebble Island, there lived 3 frogs, Maryland, August, and one who was always somewhere else. That one's name was Jessica. Jessica was full of wonder. She would go on long walks way to the other side of Pebble Island and return at the end of the day shouting, "Look what I found!" And even if it was nothing but an ordinary little pebble, she would say, "Isn't it extraordinary?" But Marilyn and August were never impressed. One day, in a mound of stones, she found one that stood out from the others. It was perfect, white like the stone and round like the full moon on a midsummer night. Even though it was almost as big as she was, Jessica decided to bring it home. I wonder what Marilyn and August will say when they see this, she thought, as she rolled the beautiful stone to the small inlet where the 3 of them lived. "Look what I found," she shouted triumphantly, "a huge pebble." This time Marilyn and August were truly astonished. "That is not a pebble," said Marilyn, who knew everything about everything. "It's an egg, a chicken egg." "A chicken egg? How do you know it's a chicken egg?" asked Jessica, who had never even heard of chickens. Marilyn smiled. "There are some things you just know." A few days later, the frogs heard a strange noise coming from the egg. They watched in amazement as the egg cracked and out crawled a long, scaly creature that walked on 4 legs. "See," exclaimed Marilyn, "I was right. It is a chicken." "A chicken!" they all shouted. The chicken took a deep breath, grunted, gave each of the astonished frogs a look, and said in a small, raspy voice, "Where is the water?" "Straight ahead," the frogs cried out excitedly. The chicken threw herself into the water, and the frogs dove in after her. To their surprise, the chicken was a good swimmer and fast too, and she showed them new ways to float and paddle. They had a wonderful time together and played from sun up to sundown, and so it went for many days. Then one day, when Jessica was somewhere else, August and Marilyn saw a commotion in the water below them. Someone was in trouble. Quickly, the chicken dove into the dark pool. August and Marilyn were frightened. After a few long minutes, the chicken reappeared carrying Jessica. "I'm all right," she called. "I got tangled in the weeds, but the chicken saved me." From that day on, Jessica and her rescuer were inseparable friends. Wherever Jessica went, the chicken went too. They traveled all over the island. They went to Jessica's secret thinking place, and to the Great Pebble Monument. One day they went to a place where Jessica had never been before. A red and blue bird flew down from a tree. "Oh, there you are," it exclaimed when it saw the chicken. "Your mother has been looking all over for you. Come, I'll take you to her." They followed the bird for a very long time. They walked and they walked and they walked under the warm sun and the cool moon, and then they came upon the most extraordinary creature they had ever seen. It was asleep, but when it heard the little chicken shout, "Mother!" it slowly opened one eye, smiled an enormous smile, and in a voice as gentle as the whispering grass said, "Come here, my sweet little alligator." And the little chicken climbed happily onto her mother's nose. "Now it's time for me to go," said Jessica. "I'll miss you very much, little chicken. Come visit us soon and bring your mother too." Jessica couldn't wait to tell Marilyn and August what had happened. As she neared the inlet, she shouted, "Guess what I found?" And she told them all about it. "And do you know what the mother chicken said to her baby?" Jessica asked. "She called her my sweet little alligator." "Alligator," said Marilyn. "What a silly thing to say." And the three frogs couldn't stop laughing. That's a great book. I just love it. It's called An Extraordinary Egg. Well, I hope you all have a great day today, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Goodbye.